one list wasn't enough, so here we are with part 2 of mentor versus student fights. If you haven't checked out part 1, the link will be in the description. You ready? Let's go! Let's travel to the magical world of Black Clover, where no matter how much training Astar does, it's just never enough. He's the guy who's determined to prove that even without magic, you can still kick some serious butt. Then there's Mereoleona Vermilion, the fiery and fearless Magic Knight captain with a temper as hot as her flames. She's the type who takes tough love to a whole new level, and she's not afraid to push people to their limits. During one particularly intense training session, Astar decides it's time to crank things up a notch. He transforms into Black Astar, a mode that's supposed to be a game changer. But the moment Mereoleona senses his newfound power, she's like a hawk zeroing in on its prey. She instantly pulls him towards her, punches him hard, and just sends him flying. I mean, if he'd been heading towards a lava pit, it might have been a safer destination than running into Mereoleona's wrath. Moving on, we have Rin and Shura from Blue Exorcist. You see, Rin is the hot-headed and fiery guy who can go from 0 to demon mode instantly. On the other hand, Shura is the exorcist with a no-nonsense attitude and a sharp sword that's almost as sharp as her tongue. She's got this cool, laid-back vibe that makes her the perfect counterbalance to Rin's fiery personality. When these two go head-to-head, things get wild. Shura turns the battle into a game of try and catch me if you can, making it nearly impossible for Rin to land a hit. And let's be real. Some folks think this fight's a bit of a mismatch, considering Rin's armed with nothing but his own demon powers, while Shura's got a sword that's practically a second personality. I mean, she pulls that sword out from her chest like it's no big deal. Well, it is what it is, isn't it? Shura is overpowered, and you can't change my mind on that one. Other than that, this fight's animation is top-notch, and it's actually hard to keep up with the movements of the two. The face-off between a student and his mentor is definitely a refreshing one. If you're ever in the mood to watch something wholesome yet slightly dark, wondering which The Journey of Elena would be your best pick. The characters in this anime are just flawless. The relationship between Elena and her mentor Fran is especially wholesome. One of the best scenes of the anime is when Elena fights Fran. I love how it deconstructs the traditional training arc on its head. You see, Elena was cocky about being a prodigy and Fran wanted her to learn humility. That's why she had to be brutal against her during their fight. And yeah, this was the moment we all realized it's not going to be an anime about some feel-good adventure. The animation of their magical battle is top-notch. Think dazzling spells and breathtaking effects that push the boundaries of what you'd expect from an anime duel. The fight scenes are so visually stunning that they might just have you spellbound. Now let's talk about My Hero Academia, where training sessions can often lead to thrilling adventures. You see, Midoriya is an earnest and overly enthusiastic hero in training who's got a heart as big as his ambition. When he learns about Gran Torino being All Might's mentor, he decides to get some training from him as well. Now, Gran Torino may be retired, but don't let his age fool you. He's still got moves that'll make your jaw drop. As the training starts, Gran Torino overwhelms Midoriya with his speed. He's so fast, it's like he's got his own personal blur effect. For Midoriya, it was hard to keep up with Gran Torino's movements. You see, Gran Torino isn't just about showing off his impressive speed. He's a master of tough love and a believer in teaching thorough experience. Instead of handling Midoriya all the answers on a silver platter, he pushes him to think on his feet and come to his own conclusions. Next up, we have a highly skilled mentor in the form of Hakuro, the wise and incredibly skilled old martial artist. He's like the Yoda of the group, but instead of a lightsaber, he's got a sword that could slice through anything. Then there's Gobta, the lovable goblin with a heart of gold and a knack for getting himself into hilarious predicaments. He might not have the skills of a seasoned warrior, but Gobda's got determination and a never-give-up attitude that's hard not to love. Yom is your classic 19 shining armor type full of bravado and courage. And let's not forget Grucius, the burly and dependable fighter who's all about loyalty and muscle. When the three of them try to test their powers against their mentor, they're defeated instantly and left with swollen faces. The old guy's skills are so next level that the trio didn't even get the chance to move an inch before being completely outclassed. Let's talk about Kenshin and Hiko from Rurouni Kenshin. Kenshin's a former assassin with a heart of gold, while Hiko is the kind of mentor who takes tough love to a whole new level. Hiko's training methods are brutal, the kind where he'll throw you into the deep end to see if you can swim. Kenshin, on the other hand, is all about protecting people and making amends for his past. During one of their training sessions, when Hiko was supposed to teach Kenshin his last move, he removed his cloak and revealed that he must kill Kenshin in order to prevent the assassin in him from coming out in the future. Kenshin, who used to think that his strength came from not fearing death, suddenly finds himself in a position where he's got everything to lose. As he stares down his master, he realizes that his true strength isn't about facing death fearlessly, it's about fighting to live for the people he loves. He was definitely not ready to die, and that's what made him strike his teacher. This is honestly one of the most beautiful scenes in the history of anime. Moving on to the high-octane world of Mobile Fighter G Gundam, where we're going to witness one of the most epic mecha showdowns between a student and his mentor. Domon Kasshu is your typical hot-blooded pilot with a fiery spirit and a passion for proving himself in the world of Mobile Fighter Gundam. He's got this wild energy and a never-give-up attitude that makes you want to cheer for him even when he's making questionable life choices. Enter Master Asia, the ultimate mentor with a reputation as the undefeated of the East. He's got the skills, the moves, and a cool demeanor. During their fight, Master Asia painted himself to be the villain, wanting Domon to be the new core life unit of the Devil Gundam. Domon just couldn't accept that and decided to fight his mentor. As a Gundam fan, this fight between a student and his mentor is an emotional one. The more you grow up, the more it will hurt because Domon had to kill his master in order to thwart his plan. Despite showing himself as evil, Master Asia was a man of honor and genuinely cared about his students. Rest in peace, Master Asia. Next up, we have Fairy Tail, where Makarov Dreyer is the heart and soul of Fairy Tail. He's an old man with a warm heart and smile. But don't let his warm and calm demeanor fool you. When it comes to fighting, he's got some serious magical muscle that can make even the toughest enemies think twice. In the opposite corner stands Hades, the dark and brooding leader of the Dark Guild Grimoire Heart. When Makarov and Hades face off, it's more than just a magical duel. Makarov brings his signature tiny giant spell, turning into a colossal powerhouse. On the other hand, Hades is ready to use his dark and sinister magic against Makarov. Poor Makarov reverted back to his original form after getting hit by Hades' magic. The fight gets more intense as Makarov struggles to hold his ground against Hades' overwhelming power. With every moment, it looks less and less likely that Makarov will turn things around. At that time, we all knew it was over for Makarov. Even as Makarov faces the grim reality of the battle's outcome, his bravery and heart shine through, reminding us why he's the beloved Grandmaster of Fairy Tail. Now let's move the spotlight to Oma and Nico from Kengan Ashura. Oma is the guy who's the pure definition of badass. He's the ultimate hero who's always ready to fight. On the other hand, we have Nico, the eccentric and unpredictable powerhouse who's known for his wild antics and surprisingly effective fighting skills. During one of their training sessions, Nico brutally beats Oma up, telling him to get up as they're just getting started. During their multiple training sessions, Nico always left Oma dripping with blood and on the ground, showing him how brutal the ways of a fighter must be. In the end, Oma was finally able to learn the technique Nico had been trying to teach him while also gaining Omar's respect. This right here is extreme martial arts training, tough sparring on rough terrain, foraging and hunting, all while pushing yourself to the limit. It's unscientific, unrealistic and incredibly dangerous. Moving on, we have a fight between Gon, Killua and Knuckle. Gon and Killua find themselves up against Knuckle, and no, this isn't Josuke from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. You see, Knuckle is a pretty tall, tough fighter with a laid-back attitude and a unique ability. He's got a powerful Nen technique that involves a special death blow technique and a unique way of tracking his opponent's aura. He takes on both Gon and Killua like they're little kids and dodges their attacks with ease, showing off just how outmatched they are. But yeah, one of the most amazing things about this show is how they don't give Gon and Killua plot armor enough to make them as strong as their opponents. Ah yes, the classic Saitama vs Genos fight that has a separate place in the hearts of all of the One Punch Man fans. You see, Saitama is the ultimate OP guy, and knowing that, Genos wanted to train under him to become an OP guy himself. He kept bothering Saitama until he finally decided to train our lovable Cyborg. As soon as their training started, Genos went all out. Literally. He put his guard up, revealed his weapons, and started going ham on Saitama, who wasn't even fazed by all of those deadly attacks. In the end, when Saitama got tired of Genos' bullshit, he decided to show him the power of his punch. But hey, he didn't actually hit him. Saitama just wanted to show him that he could have ended up in a junkyard from that single punch. I don't know how the artist managed to create such a convincing portrayal of death being launched at you from a single punch. Anyway, this is one of the most visually stunning student versus mentor fights that we'll always remember. Let's talk about one of the classics, Baby Goku versus Master Roshi. One of the very first fights in Dragon Ball. You see, Baby Goku is the tiniest, most adorable Saiyan with a tail and a boundless appetite for adventure, who's out there being a bundle of energy and curiosity. Now, enter Master Roshi, the ancient martial arts master who's a legend in his own right. Roshi might seem like a laid-back old coot, but don't let that fool you. He's a formidable fighter with skills honed over decades and a fighting spirit that's still going strong despite his age. During their fight, Goku really wanted to win, and Master Roshi could not lose. Honestly, it's the most underrated fight in the entire series. The fight went on for a long time and both the fighters sustained multiple injuries before knocking themselves out and destroying the battle stage. If you haven't seen it yet, you're missing out on one of the series' most underrated and charming fights. Ah yes, the fight that left us all in tears. While I know that there are a lot of students versus mentor fights in Naruto, this one is really close to my heart. Jiraiya versus Pain is the kind of fight that would go down generations as it had a great impact on Naruto's fans. In an interesting turn of events, Jiraiya had to fight against his old pupil Nagato, aka Pain, who had ended up becoming the leader of the Akatsuki. This legendary battle proved that Jiraiya was truly underrated. Apart from knowing that they were his former students, he faced off against 6 Pains with almost no information and wielded the Rinnegan. Despite the odds, he managed to defeat 3 of them, only for them to be revived. Still, he uncovered the truth and was able to send a critical message. Without a doubt, Jiraiya stands as one of the greatest shinobi the world has ever seen. Even though Jiraiya died, I'm grateful that Jiraiya got a hero's death and a chance to showcase his true power. Many anime these days just don't give characters like him that memorable send-off. Is someone cutting onions? In the world of One Piece, Rayleigh is like the ultimate sensei to Luffy, teaching him the ways of Haki and shaping him into the powerful pirate he's becoming. But when Luffy showed him the power of his Bounce Man form, Rayleigh mentioned how this wasn't enough. The two started fighting, and during this fight, we're looking at a 78-year-old Rayleigh against a Super Boost Gear 4 Bounce Man Luffy, and Rayleigh's just dodging all that as if he was only 25. Imagine what he'd be capable of doing in his prime. And I love how Luffy is just showing off and Rayleigh is like, no. Even at Gear 4, Luffy has a long way to go if he wants to become truly strong. Bro casually punched Luffy and knocked him out without Haki. That's the power of a true teacher who can actually bring out the best in his students. If there's one old man who's absolutely badass in the entirety of anime, it would be Yamamoto from Bleach, without a doubt. Yamamoto, the captain commander of the Gotei 13, is the embodiment of "don't mess with me." His Zanpakuto Ryujin Jaka is basically a walking inferno that can turn any battlefield into a blazing inferno. He's the kind of guy who's so powerful that even his enemies would rather discuss their feelings than face him in battle. And then there's a look of sheer dread on anyone's face when they know what they're up against. The look on Kyoraku's and Ukitake's face was priceless because they knew they messed up, and old man Yama wouldn't be playing with them. So if you ever find yourself in the Soul Society, remember, when Yamamoto is in the party, you're not just dealing with an old man, you're dealing with an unstoppable force of nature who can turn the very air into a blazing inferno. And with that, we're wrapping up Volume 2 of the best students versus mentor moments in anime. There are loads of moments like this, so we must have missed out on some of your favourites. Make sure to check out Part 1 if you've missed watching that video. Be sure to comment down below any moments you think should have made this list, and if I should consider making Part 3. See you next time.